Namaskar, hello and welcome friends to Finavision, your one-stop solution for CFA exams. My name is Shushmit Aditya Mukherjee. I'm an educator and an investment research analyst, and this video is a short excerpt from the full class series for CFA Level 3 curriculum. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let's get started.
Now friends, till now we have spoken about the monetary policy, the fiscal policy, the business cycle, the yield curves. Now it's time we combined all these things. We try to interlink all these things and bring them together. So let us start with what happens when we combine different kinds of monetary policies with different kinds of fiscal policies. The first scenario is when there is a loose monetary policy combined by a loose fiscal policy. So this means what, friends? This means that interest rates are low, money supply is up, tax earnings are low, government spending is up, right? This means the government is in deficit, the government spending is in deficit, and also the interest rates and money supply are suggesting that money supply is let loose here, right? So this means that this currency or this system of monetary policy and fiscal policy combined increases the risk of the state which is owning this kind of a policy. The risk is increased. That means if you are an investor, you are looking for higher rates of return. That means eventually you are looking for higher real returns or real rates. And because you're also running a loose monetary policy, eventually the inflation may also shoot up. So higher inflation. Right? Now friends, real rates plus inflation gives us the nominal rates, right? Real rates plus inflation gives us nominal rates. So we have a higher real rate and a higher inflation eventually as a result of a loose monetary policy combined with loose fiscal policy. This means what? Eventually we are going to have higher nominal rates. Higher nominal rates. Now the reverse happens when tight monetary policy is combined with tight fiscal policy. Let's see what happens there. Let me bring these points down. Now in the second case, we have a tight monetary policy combined with a tight fiscal policy. This means tight monetary policy means interest rates are up, money supply is low or restricted. And tight fiscal policy means tax earnings are up, government spendings are low. So both cases we have tightness here. This means eventually the markets will require some loosening of the monetary policy and some easing of the tax rates or easing of the government spending also, right? This happens generally, this kind of a situation happens during a market peak when the inflations are high, the growth has become volatile, there is froth in the market, the credit scenario has become vulnerable, and institutions are looking to rationalize and if possible do a soft landing. This is that kind of a scenario where the markets are in a euphoric state, in the late expansion or peaking kind of state, right? So the states have to take these steps during that kind of a situation because otherwise the inflation itself will go out of spiral. So they have to increase the taxes, they have to increase the interest rates, they may have to reduce the money supply, they may do each of them individually or combine them together. As a result, what happens is there is a reverse impact in the market. That means eventually you have to reduce rates. The markets will slow down, even a contraction may happen, and you may have to reduce the real rates. This means what? From a peak inflation scenario, we are going to see a reduction in inflation. Reduction in inflation, right? And as the slowdown starts to happen, markets start to anticipate that a contraction may ensue. And in addition to that, by tightening the monetary policy and fiscal policy at the right time when inflation is going out of control and there is euphoria and froth in the market, what you are signaling is the financial system, you are trying to keep it healthy and credible and reliable, right? That is a good point for your real return seekers. That is, an investor who is looking to invest in a state or in a country is looking for healthy financial systems. So a country which is following a tight monetary policy and a tight fiscal policy at the right time before inflation starts to spiral out of control, that kind of a country or that kind of a system gains favor from the investors and they start to ask for lower returns. they start to ask for lower real returns. And on the other hand, they also expect that because of the slowdown that will be an impact of these kind of tight policies, the rates eventually have to come down. A combination of lower risk due to healthy monetary policy and an expectation of lower rates in the future leads to lower real rates in the future. Lower real rates in the future. Now, low inflation and low real rates. This means low nominal rates. Lower nominal rates. Now, when both of the fiscal policy and the monetary policy are having the same nature, that is loose monetary policy plus loose fiscal policy, or tight monetary policy plus tight fiscal policy, then we can understand or we can determine that the nominal rates will go up or down. We can determine that. Here we have determined it. Here we have determined it, right? Loose monetary policy and loose fiscal policy eventually lead to higher nominal rates, and tight monetary policy and tight fiscal policy eventually lead to lower nominal rates. But this is not so sure or not so determinable when you have a mix of policies. That is, you have a loose monetary policy and a tight fiscal policy, or you have a tight monetary policy and a loose fiscal policy. In both these cases, we have mid nominal rates. Mid nominal rates. And the extent will depend on how you are balancing the tightness of one thing and the looseness of the other, right? The resultant effect will be a balancing or a trade-off of both these things. So it is less determinable, futuristically speaking. Now, the loose monetary policy and loose fiscal policy generally happens during a contraction, right? This happens during a contraction. And tight monetary policy and tight fiscal policy, this happens during late expansion or even slowdown. So here we are able to combine the business cycle phases with monetary policy and fiscal policy. Now we'll move the discussion towards the combination of monetary policies, business cycles, and yield curves. Let's do that.
The link to the full class video is given in the description below. Please check that out. Thank you so much friends for being with me till the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more such classes. Share your feedback in the comment section below and share this video with a friend who may find this helpful. For enrollment to practical application courses, internships, and CFA curriculum classes, check the description below. Till then, keep watching Finavision. See you in the next class.